Okay, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, I keep forgetting. Give me a second, brothers and sisters here. I'm still trying to understand what I'm doing here. What happened? What's this? Okay. Okay, there you go. There you go. Okay, assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sulaiman Rahim here, Master of the Covenant, breaker of the 7 seals. I apologize. I'm gonna have some technical difficulties here. I got a whole new system. I got several devices here. Very complicated. I'm trying to keep up with it. Hopefully this is better than I had before. They got backups and security and a lot of stuff. So I may have some issues along the way. I'm still working out the bugs. So bear with me. Anyway, brothers and sisters, I believe I'm live on Facebook and YouTube. And I plan on expanding that audience soon, as soon as I get a firm grip on all this technology I have here. Brothers and sisters, we're going to talk about the famine that's on the way. Famine's on the way, America. You already see it. You don't understand it, but the world is already at war. It's economic at this point, but in some places it's actual physical. Anyone that's paying attention, and most of you are not paying attention, know the world is fast track towards war. Fast track. Make an adjustment here. Fast track towards war. See, a world war. See, you got the tensions in Taiwan. They could break out any day. You got what's going on in Russia and Ukraine and Europe. They're already declaring it war. They're declaring it World War III. They're already. They're not saying in the news media here right now, simply because they got an election coming up and they don't want you to think the Democrats are getting the world into a war. So they're not mentioning here very much, even though some people are starting to mention it. But they are mentioning it overseas. On the internet overseas, they're mentioning it World War III. Then you got the situation in Iran. They said they could be at war with them any day now, because they constantly is rich uranium, and false Israel has proclaimed, and America has supported them. They cannot allow Iran to have nuclear weapons, and Iran has tons of uranium at 60% right now. They say they may have some at 90% because they won't allow inspectors in. So war is a war. But one of the outcomes of this war is famine. Now what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you, sisters and brothers? Famine. So you don't think about the word because, you know, in spite of all the stuff that has been going on, in spite of all the things that have been going on here in America in the last 50 years, most of you had something to eat. It wasn't nothing but Doritos and popcorn. You had something to eat. See, you had something, some eating chitlins, but you had something to eat. So most of you have never went without something to eat. Something. See. So if someone talks famine and you think of America, oh man, that doesn't even get to your mind. That's not going to happen here. Food everywhere. Food everywhere. Now they tell you, well, there's inflation and food costs, and food cost may be high, but it's still no threat of no food. See, it says, well, threat of high prices, but no threat of no food. At least you don't see a threat. There's a threat. Well, it's going on in the background. People are blowing up the storage houses. They don't know why. Someone's going around doing that. You don't understand the impact it has on you. That's outside of inflation. It affects inflation. The storms. The fact all of a sudden I've been telling people that America's run out of topsoil, which it is. But now all of a sudden everybody's talking about, man, we got a lot of topsoil in America. See, because they listen to what I'm saying. They don't want people to start thinking that topsoil. They don't. The truth of the matter is why they saying that they import all this fertilizer from Russia if they have topsoil. If you have topsoil, you don't need fertilizer. When they came over here and they was growing food for hundreds of years right here, us out there and pick cotton and stuff, they wouldn't get fertilizer from Russia then. Where was they getting fertilizer from? So why they need it now? See? Because they've done the same thing here. They did to Europe. They overused the soil. And so now they have no fertilizer. I mean, no topsoil. Topsoil's running out. They're trying to trick you into 6 states. See, they want to give you 6 states. But they don't want to look like they want to give it to you because then you might be suspicious. They want to give those 6 states. But they know they have to give it, they have to sell it. It has to be a full sale. It has to be a 100% sale. Because that will annul the agreement you have for the promised land they don't want you to know about. They killed Martin Luther King when he first spoke about it. They told him, do not speak about the promised land. He spoke about it, he was dead the next day. They want you to know about it. Farrakhan's not talking about it. And that was the basis, the heart of Elijah Muhammad's message. We going home. That was the heart of it. I was there. I'm 73 years old. This is not secondhand stuff. I was there in Chicago in 1970, forming the Muhammad Speak newspaper. I was there. And that's the fundamentals of Elijah Muhammad's message. We leaving here, separation, go back home. He didn't want to be in the civil rights movement, any of that kind of stuff. But Farrakhan said, no, we ain't going nowhere. And we're going to stay here. We're going to take America and all that kind of stuff. That's the demon plan. He's trying to suck you into it because he's a demon. Because he knows he's never going. He's home now. This is the only home he ever going to have. Because Europe ain't his home. Right? Because he was created here. He's a hybrid. He was created here by rape. The Europeans, that's their home back there. But who knows whose home the demons belong to? Because they was created here. See? But everything that, on another note, everything that these devils have, they stole, killed to get, lied to get. And so if they think that's God's way of getting things, and that's the way God's blessed you to get things, then we know what God they're talking about, don't we? The God of this world that Jesus talked about, don't we? Satan. If that's the way God rolls, Jesus rolls, by stealing, killing, and destroying, that's what it said, they were the devil's what? Kill, steal, and destroy. If that's the way Jesus rolls, then what the hell you got a problem with Satan for? What's the problem with Satan? See? No problem. I got issue here. Let's see. Let me correct this that. Let me correct this. So I'm still working the system here. I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, we're here. Okay, what's the problem here? Okay, this is, what else? Because I gotta figure this out. See, this goes over there. Okay, that's that one. So why is that? Cutting it off like that. Okay, well, I'm not gonna. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see. This is there. For some reason. Well, I need to straighten this out before go further, because if I don't, it might cause a problem in the presentation. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on here. Okay, that was it. Okay. And I got on the other side now, hold on. Like I said, brothers don't have a little technical difficulties, so bear with me. There you go. Okay, there you go. So they suffer consequence right now. They're under judgment. The Holocaust. See, the Holocaust is what they went over and beyond their parameters as far as treating us for the last 500 years. They treated us unjustly and said we're being enslaved and afflicted. The affliction part is what they're being judged for. God is not mocked. That means He is just, and justice will be done. What they did to us, they are now they're suffering the consequence of it. Some consequence of Holocaust. All things they did was unimaginable, unthinkable, unbelievable. That's why it sounds like, man, they did that, and they want you to crowd at you. Oh, every time they show some Ukraine or the border, oh, show the children. See, children. But when it comes to us, in our affliction, in our Holocaust, they never show the children. They never show the children. No, how they was mistreating children, how they was raping children, how they was sodomizing children. See, how they was making children do unthinkable things to them. See, unspeakable things. Train them as toddlers to do unspeakable things, so when they grow up, it's normal to them. Unspeakable things they did. But they never talk about the children, because you make you think that everybody over there, they grabbed from Africa over here. No, most of the people that was over here was born here. And it was brutalized in the womb, through the womb, to the grave and beyond. Beyond the grave, they gave you no peace even at the grave, because you was going to hell forever and ever. See? So we're going to talk about that. Let me look at something right here, because I might want to speak about that right now before I make my presentation. Because I've been meaning to talk about it for the last few days, and I kind of been putting it off. Because like I said, I've been wasted, brothers. I just ran out of total energy, and I just said, oh well. So I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to get myself, spent like 4 hours at the gym today, trying to. Some say I'm overdoing it. Well, anyway. Okay, I'm gonna say this. Christianity. I'm moving to the presentation. Christianity is one of the major problems here, because to sum up Christianity in a word, it's bullshit. Oh man, well listen. If you can follow logic, because see, first of all, you can't follow this, because if you're a Christian, you can't follow this, because they taught you not to follow logic. That's the whole base behind Christianity. You cannot follow logic, because there's no logic to it. You can have faith. And they start teaching you, and you teach your children that stuff from the very beginning, when they're toddlers, to not think. Because they ask you a question, oh, you got to believe it or you're going to hell. You're threatening with hell and damnation if they ask you a question about that bullshit you're telling them. You're threatening with hell and damnation. You know what it does with a child's mind? I know it did to mine. I had to fight through it. You're threatening with hell and damnation, eternal. Hell and damnation if they question anything. And the Bible says you're supposed to question. prove all things. But you threaten with hell and damnation, your children, and then you wonder why they're not good in school or anything else, because they can't use logic, because you told them, you stopped them from using logic right out of the womb. You told them, don't use logic, just fair. So then when they sit around and say, bring bad grades, you understand why? Because they prayed that night. Instead of studying, Jesus, give me a good grade. You think they're not doing that? You did it. Tell the truth, you did it. Or you didn't study, but Jesus, give me a good grade, because you prayed for a good grade. You prayed for this, you prayed for that, instead of going out and taking care of it, because that's why they're not doing anything, because all they got to do is sit and pray. Because if prayer works, why go out to work? Why do anything? Just say, I pray. If prayer works, because you know it don't work, but if prayer works, then why not pray for $1 billion? Cut to the chase, pray for $1 million. Why are you going to work every day if prayer works? Oh, well, God's going to do it with it. Well, oh, he don't do it that way with it. You know, he's all, you know, he do whatever he wants to, right? Anyway, the point I want to make about Christianity, more so than anybody else, is think about it. So I'm going to use some logic. So those of you have any logic left, any brain cells that's not confused left, what's the story there? What's the bottom line? God created you, right? That's the bottom line, right? Because that's how you came into existence according to Christianity. God created you, right? But you sinned. Wait a minute, hold on. But he created you. So if you fail, that means there's something wrong with the creator, not you. Oh, he gave you freedom of thought, or what do you call it? Free will. That's bullshit. But even if he did, there must be some flaw in that freedom of will, because if you fell, you made the wrong choices. Even if you got free will, you still got to make the choices. It means something in about you that when he created you, that made you make bad choices. So you his creation. There's nothing. Anybody, some of you create something, you have to take full responsibility for the creation. You can't say, I created this, but I'm not responsible for it, or I created it, but it does its own thing. No, well, if it does its own thing, you create that ability in it to do that. So I don't care how you go around it, you can't get away from the fact that God is responsible for your actions, because he created you. If he created you, and he gave you something that's outside his creation, because if he gave you free will, that means he gave you something outside his creation. He gave out his creative ability, but if he gave you free will, he gave something outside his creation. In other words, he don't know what you're going to do. If he gave you free will, that means he don't know what you're going to do. But then you tell me he knows the beginning from the end. He knows the end from the beginning. Don't you tell me? So it means he knows exactly what you was going to do. So you can't get away with that bullshit free will stuff. You tell me he knows exactly what was going to happen before it happened. So when he created you, he knew what you was going to do before he did it. So where you get that free will stuff from? Otherwise, if you say that, then he couldn't possibly know what you was going to do. He can't know the end from the beginning, because he don't know what you're going to do. That's what you just say, you got free will. So you can't have one way or the other. So he created you and you flawed. So then he gets mad because you flawed. He blames you for being flawed. And then he burns your ass up for it. That's Christianity in a nutshell. Now, if you believe that bullshit, you are a totally ignorant dumbass. Because what kind of God is that? He F's up. Then he blames up what he F's up. Then he burns it up and blames it for being F'd up. But he the one F'd it up because he created it. You take that crap someplace else. That's bullshit. Anybody got a brain? No, but that's why I tell you don't use your brain. Don't think on it. Because if you think on it, see, you can't think, oh man, if I make a mistake, if I think on it, I end up in hell forever, never, never. Okay, where was you going before you heard about it, before you came over here? You was in hell when they brought you over here. Before you knew about this Jesus they tell you about, you was doing well. You was happy and pleasant. You was living a good life, right? See? And then you come over here in hell, and then they tell you about a greater hell. And you believe it. From a people that's giving you hell. So you believe these people who are evil, lying, everything else, they got the right religion. See? Demons they'll all believe it. The Christ said they all believe. All the devils and demons are going to believe it before they die. So all of them believe it. See? But if you're an original person, you believe, you're just a total idiot. We don't want you anyway. Because that's bullshit. But see, the logic, no, just have faith. Okay, if that's the case, if you have faith, then what if you was born in India? They tell you the same thing, have faith in Shiva, have faith in Buddha. So if that's the criteria to have faith, then how do you know which faith is right? Because if you got 4 major religions, 3 of them gotta be wrong. So they tell the people over in India, you gotta have faith too. They tell people in China, you gotta have faith too. People ask, you have faith too. So who in the fuck? Come on. Let's move on to the presentation. See, I mean, cool. Some of you gonna wake up in a minute, but I'll tell you this famine thing. Some of you gonna wake up with an apple in your mouth on a plate. And one, let's go into it. So I'm going to a detailed explanation. This is very important. We have some sisters. They gave a rendition. It's fine, right? But this needs very fine point. So you just know it, because this is at your doorstep, brothers and sisters. Literally. Okay. Let me see. Let me hold up. I'm still trying to figure this out. I got all these doggone systems going here. I'm trying to figure which ones is what. Okay, that's over here. Okay, it should be here in the house. Oh, there you go. Okay, let's see. Okay, famine, death, starvation. That's what you're facing, brothers and sisters. In a few days, not in a few years, not a few months, in a few days, you're facing this. Come to you suddenly. So I'm gonna go in and talk about the angel. Angel is Book of Revelations. Now the Book of Revelations is they call it Revelation now, but it's still there. That's okay because it reveals things. See? Now it's curious that you don't find any females online talking about Revelation. You gotta find these hacks trying to explain the Revelation. They're all wrong, but you don't have enough females trying to explain it. Why is that? Because the ones that try to explain it don't know what they're talking about anyway. I've yet to find a female out there trying to explain it. But if they have broke the seals, then that means they don't know what they're talking about. Like Muhammad didn't break the seals either. He didn't claim to have broken the seals. If Farrakhan has a claim to broken the seals, at least he hasn't told that lie. So that means he don't know what the hell he's talking about, does he? Unless he's broken the seals. The book is sealed up. If a bottle of wine is sealed, you don't know what it tastes like. You got to break the seal and taste it. You got to tell me, oh man, it tastes this way. Have you opened the bottle and tasted it? No. How the hell you know how it tastes? How you know it's any good? So if you haven't broken the seal, you should set the F up. Oh, here you go, being hard. Look, brother, we're at war. I don't give a damn about all this bullshit. You want to talk fancy and everything else? Because in a few more days, you're going to be eating your own children. And tell me how we talk real nice then. Oh, I'm going to have my children tonight. Well, I'm going to cook them. I'm going to put them on the oven. That's where you're going to be talking? Unreal. You keep up with the bullshit. Famine, death, starvation. Let's look into this. Now, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to start with the 6th seal. I'm going to talk about the Book of Revelation. And the 6 seals, right? The 7 of them all together, right? This is going to bring, I know you don't, most 99.99% of you don't have any idea what the intro is about. Revelation, you think you know, but I'm going to go into it, and that's something you just study if you want to. But I'm going to show you something in here, right? Because the Bible tells you there's going to be starvation. They said the starvation, they said it's going to be famine, but it's not a famine that's going to be a little bit of food. It's going to be no food. The Bible says it's going to be no food. There'll be no fish, no birds, nothing. And won't be for a week or a day. So ask yourself, if there's no food for even just a month, what you think this country would be like if there's no food in this country, absolutely no food for a month? What you think will happen in this country? What do you think this country would be like if there's no food for a whole month? And we got people, especially these devils, They haven't went out without eating something in their whole life. Most of them have not spent a whole hour without eating something unless they were asleep in their whole life. None of them have went over a day. Fasting for them is not eating fish on Friday, right? Or stop eating some Doritos. That's fast for them. So what you think it would be like? Just ask yourself, can you ask yourself, what do you think it'd be like? What do you think it'll be eating? And who do you think it'll be eating? Remember, it's no food, no pets, no dogs, no cats, no birds. It said there'll be no food at all. It makes that point. It said, and I showed the scripture. It says there'll be no food, zip, none. So what do you think this country will be like? When people have no food, absolutely nothing, and they're raving hungry, and they've been hungry for more than a week. If you just had no food in America for a week, it would be a disaster. But say they went a month. I'm just saying the stats because this is bad in a week. But if say it went a whole month without food, and they're gonna go along that without any food, and they're in war, and in a war, the bat. What do you think? Actually, what do you think it'd be like in this country? What do you think it'd be? I ain't saying there's food stored, they got to fight for it. No, there's no food. There's having no food here, nowhere, no farming, nothing. You can't break any place to take any food. There's zero, no food at all. What do you think this country's gonna be like? Ask yourself that question. You gonna answer, well, that will never happen. Okay, the Bible says it's gonna happen. And so they say, well, and it's gonna be during a siege. So they try to say it's us. It happened to us. Africa was never under siege. They didn't take us being under a siege. They came and grabbed us off of tribal areas and stuff. America wasn't under any, Africa wasn't under any siege. We was cannibals. No, we never went through that. We was never starving. We was eating each other and stuff like that. And when they came and got us, we was not under any siege. They said when this happened, this famine, it's going to be because America, the place that God is punishing, they're going to be under a siege. They're going to be a famine. The siege, they're going to be in the famine before the siege, but the siege is going to emphasize it. It's going to solidify it. So let me see if I can keep up with this, but I'll just make sure. Get myself a little confused here. I think I rearrange this because. Okay. Whoa. Sixth seal. I'm gonna start with the sixth seal because I'm gonna lay this out for you, brothers and sisters. Sixth seal. Now, sixth seal. When you read sixth seal, that's where the war starts. Sixth seal is what kicks the war off. See, that's where I'm starting here. See, lay out some background here. This is what sixth seal looks like. This is the angel key. Without the angel key, you cannot understand scripture. That's the key that unlocks the scriptures, right? This is the particular structure it has at this point. See, that's where we are right now. This is sackcloth. That's the Shia, Iran and Syria, right? And they're pushing against America, Britain, and falls Israel by enriching uranium, and they're at war with Syria, and Iran is rich, they're back in Syria, and they're enriching uranium and everything, and they're putting pressure on America, Britain, and falls Israel because they're saying, no, well, you can't have, you got to stop it. So they put pressure on them. That's where we are right now, point in time. And America, Britain, and falls Israel, they the dominant powers in the Middle East. They have power over the Middle East. That's what says, men's hearts be failing for fear of those things coming upon earth, because the powers of heaven be shaken. See, the Middle East in Scripture is heaven. Mid-heaven, to be more precisely. Mid-heaven. That's where we are. So let me read this. And when I saw he opened the sixth seal, and shaking great occurred. The shaking is not earthquake, it's war. And the sun became black as sackcloth hair, moon whole became as blood. See, now I got the moon, I have as water, sometimes it's called water, sometimes it's called moon. I live as water, right? I think because I want to say something later on, but some people think that's happening simultaneously. No, I'm saying, I mean, they're already in that situation when the sun becomes black, because sun represents Suleiman. See, and so in other words, at that point in time, when this war starts, it's about to start. See, because they're putting pressure. That's where the war's going to start, right there in the Middle East. They're putting pressure, right? But at that time, this already occurred. See, because that's where it made the wars. That's why I want to leave it there. But I know if you don't understand the angel, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, that's already occurred, because that's after you read the 6th, 7th seal, right? And you understand that. Anyway, it has occurred. So this at the point where see, that's when sun becomes black, because that's what it means sun becomes black. They think the sun went out. You got people talking about the sun's gonna go out. Yeah, well, okay. There's these crazy people. That's what that means. At that point, that's when he comes to the messenger of the covenant. Comes, remember in Malachi, he comes to clean up the temple. See, that's at that point. He comes. That's what during the war started. Because now this is where sackcloth means Iran and Syria, right? They just kicked out America, Britain, and false Israel. Now they have the powers. That's where it says, men's hearts be filled with fear of those things come upon the earth, because the powers of heaven be shaken. That means America's power, Britain's power, and false Israel's power is broken in the Middle East. Now she has control. This war, that's Michael's angels, chapter 12, right? Michael's angels, Master from Muhammad, he's the 12th man with the Shia. They go to war with the dragon and defeat them. The dragon's angels are America, Britain, and false Israel. That's what's happening right there. So this simultaneously, when this war breaks out, she goes, as soon as the war breaks out, you got a lot of people over there in Iraq. So you got a lot of dissatisfaction over there. And a lot of people was breaking ranks. And they watching. Because they're trying to see who's right. Whether this war is going to turn into or spread over Russia like Farrakhan said the next move, or it's going to break out in the Middle East like I'm saying. And when they see that, they're going to come running. Now I have to go to them, they're coming to me, but the way it shows here, Angel, I'm going to them, but no, they're coming to me. Read Mark. Read the book of Mark, they're coming to me. So now they want to listen. But I'm not sure I even want to talk to them. They won't come to me, so I'm not worried about it. So this is what happened. That's what 6 seals talking about. Then the fig tree, remember, false Israel is called as fig tree. So as leaves would be American Britain, right? That's Gog and Magog. That's another story altogether. To see what happened with that. And that's said the fig trees before they was ripe. They were strong before they was ripe, because America had a plan. See, that plan was preempted by Master from Muhammad, because he moved before they was able to implement that plan. That's why it says before it was ripe. See, they cast their figs before it was ripe. So I'm not going into that in detail. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, right? So that leaves false Israel isolated and defamed, because their nuclear weapons will be of no use to them. They'll be no use, because Master from Muhammad is already neutralized them. They'll be of no use to them. They're no use to them. So they outnumber like 100 to 1. They're under siege. No food going in, no food going out. It's going to last for a little while. Not a long time. It's going to last long enough where they're going to start eating each other. It's going to be publicized all over the world. All those drones and everything, they'll be flying over, because they're not being knocked them down. They're going to be watching these people eat each other, killing each other. They're going to run out of food fast, because no food's going to be allowed in, no food's going to come out. They're going to be under siege. We see Jerusalem surrounded by armies. Notice destruction. That in itself tells you they're false Jews, false Israel, because it says when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, notice destruction is near. So if they were the true seed of Abraham, they wouldn't be destroyed, because when they return, they can't be destroyed. But it says who controls Jerusalem? Who's in charge of it? They're going to be destroyed. That means they're false. That statement right there. There's many statements show that they're fake, but with the demons and devils, what are they going to do? So they're under siege. And so the whole world going to see their savagery upon each other. And that's what it means by men's hearts. See, when they say the earth, they're talking about European countries. I'm going to show you that in a minute. It's European countries. So he said, men's hearts be failing for fear of those things coming upon the earth, because the powers of heaven. What they fear? Because they're going to see this, and then the rest coming upon America. What they see over the happen here is going to happen here. That's where the hearts are failing. Because they see men's hearts failing for fear of those things coming upon the earth, because the powers of heaven be shaken. Now, if heaven is somewhere in the ninth dimension, way beyond the sun, moon, stars, how would they know the power was shaken? Think about that, brothers and sisters. So I'm trying to I'll give you some background before I move into it. This is sixth seal. That's when the war starts. That's Armageddon. No, that's preceded. That's before the war in the middle, the war in heaven. Michael's angels, that preceded Armageddon. That ignites Armageddon. Armageddon is the European war. Okay, let's move on. Take my time with this, brothers, because I really want you to understand this, because your life may depend on understanding this. Okay, now we're going to jump to the fourth seal. The fourth one. That's the plagues. And watch it very carefully. You see here? The fourth seal talks about 4 different things in a certain order. It says in that particular order, it says, they begin authority upon the fourth of the earth. The earth represents European countries. They kill in long sword, in famine and in death, and by the wild beasts of the earth. So it says the fourth of the earth. That means it's one country in the earth, because the earth represents, it's 4 parts of earth. America, Britain, Russia, and EU. That's the earth. It's 4 parts to it. I'll show you that in a minute. But it says only one of them this is having an impact on. It says, first, it'd be authority. See, because they refer back to the previous seals. Right? Because the first one, that's a white horse. See? He had authority upon whoever this fourth of the earth is, that one had for whoever that was, he had authority over it. Right? To kill a long sword. See? So they're gonna be killing that fourth, gonna be killing long sword, and in famine and death. See, so when it says killing long, well, we'll see in a minute. In famine and in death. So famine and death is only going to affect that 1/4. Remember, it's the fourth. The earth is all that's going to happen to. Whoever this fourth character is, that's all that's going to happen to. And by the wild beasts of the earth. So that means the wild beasts, that's the other parts of the earth that's going to go against it. It's going to betray it. So let's go in this. Okay, I'm going to hit the first one first. I thought, the white horse. What's about this white horse? Authority upon the fourth of the earth. That's the first seal. Say, so a white horse. Said it would have a boat. See, that's the structure. Now remember, this is a structure it had before the war starts. So this happened before the war, because that bow there, see what it says rainbow? It's not a bow like a arrow quiver, right? They got it wrong. It's rainbow as part of, but I'm not going to the detail here. But anyway, so that hasn't happened yet, because that's the sixth trumpet or sixth seal. It hasn't blown yet. Because remember, that has already happened when the war started. So this is pre-war. And sackcloth, they still bottom at the front, at the bottom of the nations. It's still under the authority of the nations, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, but that's the structure. It hasn't gotten to the part where it's got the war yet. It's just before that, right? I got Obama there. Okay, you're going to meet him. He's the one sitting on the first horse. Because the first one, there was the red one, that represents the African nations. The brown ones, that represents the Asian nations. The yellow ones represents the Oriental nations, and the white represents the Caucasian nations. Those are the creatures. Okay. So it's an African that has authority over whoever this. Remember, this fourth of the earth is four parts to it: America, Britain, America, Britain, Russia, and EU, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. So this is Africans that are going to have authority over one of those. When did that happen? Has there been an African has control of one of those nations? Yes, Obama did. He's African that was run, and that's recent. But this what happened before the war. Okay? And he says he was given a crown. That's the structure, you understand, Angel. And he might so he has two conquests to make. He got another conquest to make. See? And he's the one that started JCPOA, which put the witnesses who there's lies on. Farrakhan lied about the witnesses. Okay, whatever. The two witnesses, that's the sackcloth again. They was put on the foot of the nations for 42 months, was 3.5 years. Exactly how long they was under control of the UN for 3.5 years, from 2015 to 2018, and 6 months when Trump ends that agreement. 42 months, exactly like it says. On the foot of the nations. That's where they were. Obama set that up. Okay? So, now we established the first horse, right? I didn't do it on, excuse me about this. Okay. Okay, that's the first horse. So we know the first, that nation they talk about is America. Because there's been no African person that's been ruling East Western Europe, rules in Russia, or ruling Britain, only America. He was the president. So now we established that 1/4 Earth, all these things will happen to. That's America. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, now it says a killing long sword. See what that means? That's that fire red horse. That's second seal. Now what's going to happen there? It says, he opened the seal of second, heard of the second living saying, be you coming? I went on another horse, fiery red, and the setting part was given to take peace out of the earth in order they would slaughter each other. See? So that means this one, remember he had Obama there, now this one, he takes peace, in other words, they go to war, they start fighting, that's Armageddon. That's Armageddon. As the second one, he brings Armageddon. And when you understand, I'm not going into detail, right? But that's, the Arabs bring that about. Anyway, I'm not going into detail about that, right? But it's over in the Middle East. Because you understand what the fiery horse represents the Asian part, and the Arabs are part of that, right? See the rivers there? The waters represents the Arabs. They're the golden part of it. The golden part of each nation, that's the Muslim, Islamic part of it. See? So that means this war in the Middle East, right, triggers Armageddon, where they start slaughtering each other. They're not slaughtering each other in the Middle East. See, they're slaughtering each other in Europe. They're slaughtering each other in Europe. So now you got, see, at this, right, so you had, okay, in Obama, you had that part. Now you got leading up to Armageddon, second seal. That's what we're talking about here. Let's see what happens. Let's see what else is here. Okay, we'll go back. Okay, so that's telling you right there, they're going to be at war with each other. Okay, Armageddon. Okay, so let's move on. Miss America's fourth earth, right? And so that means America, it means the Western Europe and Russia is going to be at war with America, right? And then the third one says, and in famine and in death. And it's the biggie. This is the biggie. I should have named this dark, deep secrets, because this is a secret. I've been holding on for a long, long time, for years, because it's the right time to tell you. Because I told you 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, you said, "Oh, that man, are you crazy?" But now it's so close, some of you should be able to feel it by now. The third one, it brings in famine. No food. I just show you famine. No food. No food. Zero food. That's the third one. And what you think this also brings in death. I'm not going into detail about the death part, because that represents the invasion by China and India. That's the goat talking about Daniel. But I don't want to, well, yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Because remember I told you about the siege, false Israel siege? But they say when China and India comes, they do the same thing to America that happened over there. They're going to put it under siege. America already going to be in a famine, but then they're going to be under siege that's going to accentuate it, because they're going to be under siege. Totally under siege. No food coming in, food out. Totally under siege. They already been famine before that. And this is just going to highlight just like the same thing it did in false Israel. See? That's what it means, death. See, death is not that last horse. If you get a translator, it says the one above it. But you know, if you read King James Version, we'll go with it. But what's this about? Okay, let's see what I have on this. And I took, brothers, this takes time to put these things together. This was a lot of technical work to put this one together, because it's very important. I want you to make sure you understand this one. See, angel or not. This is the third one. When you open up the seal of the third, I heard the living saying, "You coming?" I said, "Look, horse black, and sat upon it," right, having a yoke in the hand of him. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living say, "Shoneks of wheat of denarius, and 3 shoneks of the barley of denarius, and oil and wine, not you should treat unrighteously." Now, I'm going to break this down for you, brothers and sisters. First of all, it says, it says, the oil and wine should not treat unrighteously. Why do you say that? Because they're treating the other stuff unrighteously. Because they have to tell you that. That means they're treating the barley and everything else unrighteously. You understand? You got to read these things carefully, brothers and sisters. That means they're treating them unrighteously. That means they're doing damage to them, whatever. But they treat them badly, unrighteously. See, that's why I said, because don't do it to them, do it to these. Another thing, when I say attack all black, I think some people misunderstand and say it. They attack all blacks, that means the African blacks here too. That's here on visas and everything else. Okay. Well, they're going to be fighting back too. But why are they attacking them? Now listen to this carefully. Now remember, this is the famine part. Remember the 3 categories? First was, right, authority. That's Obama. Second was the sword, right? Third one, because each one corresponds to that's why I told you the fourth one first, because I told those 4 categories, each one corresponds to one of the horses. So the first one represented the first horse, right? That's the Obama, right? And the second one represents the second horse. This third thing, the famine represents the third horse. And here's the third horse right here, but what's the third horse is? Now this is supposed to be a famine. It's supposed to be a famine, no food. But wait a minute, he's got food. He says, because that's what wheat and barley is. So who's the wheat and barley if they got no food? Who is the wheat and barley? I mean, they said, wait a minute, it's a famine, no food. But how do they got food if there's no food? How do they have food if there's no food? It's a famine. But he's talking about he's got food. See, he said, I got, no, it was 3 to 1. Like for $1, you get a pound of wheat for $1, and you get 3 pounds of barley for $1. So the barley is not as cheap. Barley is cheap compared to the wheat, because you get 3 times as much barley for the same amount of money. So it's cheap. It's not worth. It's not worth the wheat. The wheat is more expensive. But how in the hell they got that if there's no food? How in the hell is he doing this? There's no food. There's a famine here. How is he talking about food when there's no food? He's trading food, but there's no food. How is he trading food when there's no food? That's what you got to ask yourself, brothers and sisters. How is he trading food? There's no food. And it's 3-1. So it's no problem. They trade us like it's nothing. They treat it unrighteously. That means they're tormenting or whatever. This food is being treated badly. So how do you treat food badly? I mean, you don't cook it. How do you treat food unrighteously? How do you treat it badly? I mean, how do you? I mean, he really treated a hot dog really bad. You don't even talk that way about food. Man, he really was mean to that steak. You don't talk that way about food. Because when you understand the angel, the body represents the demons, the blacks, those, because remember, the original nation, nearly half of it has been corrupt. That's the demons. There's 3 of them. It's 3 demons. But it's 1 wheat. That's the NOI. That's the 1 wheat. I ain't talking about the demon possessed NOI. We're going to move them out of it. Because demons, the body is what's possessing, because they mixed up together. They was mixed up together, and Elijah was told, don't try to separate them, because you can't do it. Son of Man will have to do it. That's what's going on here. You the food. You the food. And they're going to be trading, eating. You the food. Okay. You don't have to pay attention to this, but when you end up on a plate, on all fours, with an apple in your mouth, and stick up your ass, when how you got there, remember you was told. That's what's happening in America. It's on your doorstep. It's days away. It's not months away. It's days away. See? Same time, the famine's going to start while they're at war. And then they're going to be invaded, and they're going to solidify it. And when that happens, you're going to be on the menu. Because already it's all illegal for each you anyway, because you're not human. And the Constitution, this been planned. They got other plans. That's why, remember Master Muhammad, there were those fig trees was before they was ripe. They had all kinds of plans for you. But Master Muhammad interrupted their plans before they had a chance to implement them. Do not eat that tree. Remember they told Eve, don't eat of it. You don't understand that story. That's what the story is here. They're going to eat you, because that's the thing. The point is that when there's no food in this country, I asked you a few minutes ago, if there's no food in this country, zero. There's no food to be had anywhere. And people has went out food a day or 2 days, and they no food on the horizon, nowhere. And what you think Congress going to do? People demanding to eat. Demand to eat. And can't you, the Constitution say, those people are not human. They're only 3/5 human. And anything that's not human can be eaten. Imagine if you had gorillas running around here in America. Remember, there's no food, but you had a bunch of gorillas. Wouldn't people eat those gorillas? When you have gorillas, no food, they'd eat those gorillas, wouldn't they? That's supposed to be a grand uncle, according to you. You get the picture? You're already in the Constitution 3/5 human. Why haven't they taken that out? So you're not human, so I mean you can be eaten. That's what we're talking about here, brothers and sisters. See? And that's going to inspire the war. Because I told you there could be a demon war. Because they're going to attack all blacks. You're not human. They don't care what kind of black you are. They're going to attack. That's why they say, flee. Why are you telling you to flee, brothers? Because they're going to eat you. It says, don't go back in your house, do nothing. Just flee. Flee to where? That's a good question there. Flee. Because they're going to eat you. They're going to kill you and eat you. They're going to put you in warehouses, where they're going to put you in farms or whatever they can put you, corral you, and they're going to trade just like this here. Right? Hey, give me that one, give me this one. You're going to be food. It's not going to be anything. Remember, they ate their children. They ate their pets. This mostly happens when the siege comes. See, because they ate everything else. There's no food at all. So would they rather eat you or eat their children? Your children are human. You ain't. That's what you're up against. And you don't know it. And these demons are leading you, Farrakhan are leading you right into it, because they're going to be on the menu too. That's how you had a demon war. See, because they're going to say, Master, we with you. Man, I don't care. You're black, you're going to be eaten. And so now they're going to do, now you got the demon war, 5-month demon war. Because they're going to be eating, they're going to be fighting, they're going to be catching, and you get caught, you're going to be eaten. If they're at war, how can they go at war? They're not eating anything. They have to eat something. You. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. You better read that story about Peru. What, about 15, 20 years ago? They crashed in the mountains of Peru or something. There was only a Maori civilization, but they didn't realize it. And before nightfall, they was eating the dead people. Slicing them up, eating them cold. Okay, brothers and sisters. But that's the fourth of the earth. I show you there. That's the fourth of the earth. And that's what happened in false Israel. But you're going to see it happen there first. That's why I say when you see that, flee. That's the last one you're going to get. That's why I say when you see the abomination of desolation, it's abomination. Abomination of desolation. Which thing that is when you had no food, you're eating everybody eating. That's abomination. That's desolation. You can't get any worse than that. How can you get worse situation when you sit around here and you're eating your own children and eating your own people and eating your sons eating the fathers eating the sons? That's abomination. You can't get worse than that. And then abomination of desolation. They said when you see that, because you're going to see it, you're going to get a warning. You're going to see it. Master, I'm not going to give you a warning because you're going to see it over there. That was a mishospital failing for fear those things coming upon earth because the powers of heaven will be shaken. Because they're going to see that. Oh, they're going to see it. And they know it's coming here. You just want to be your final one. Say, flee. Be your final one, you're going to see it. Because if they eat each other, which ain't going to do with you? And you, in the Constitution, you ain't human. That means there's no stigma eating you. When you're back in the fields, they ate you back then. You better go read some of those books they got out there. You know, these far right, so forth, whatever. They got publications out there right now with how to serve niggers. I know because I've seen them. I had some. I used to be a subscriber. They didn't know what it was sent it to, right? And then something happened and they wouldn't send it anymore. Maybe they found out who they were sending it to. Tell you, brothers and sisters. That's what it's telling you. They have food, but it's supposed to be a famine. There's no food, but yet still, and you the food. That's where you understand the angel. Angel's telling you the food. See, let's go on. Let's move a little further here. And that's where they attack. That's where they attack here. That's where the four winds blow, because they were actually the four winds. Those African blacks, or we on visa, whatever, right? See? So that's when all blacks will come together, because all blacks are on attack. All blacks will come together. All blacks on attack. See, the demons as well, because they had nothing to do with you before. They was out there marrying whites, loving whites all over, right? Like a stupid Kanye West. I mean, he's supposed to be so smart, right? He ain't smart. The white girls, they grab you, make sure they got that money. They don't want to bother with your dumb ass. She got that money out of him, got $1 billion out of his ass, and then she walked away. What she need him for? What she some nigga for? She got $1 billion. How does that work? Why she want that stigma? She got $1 billion out of that fool. He's still. That's what it is. So Serena Williams, all them, they wouldn't want them to have no money. You get that money, then they can go off anyway. But they all come together. Now, see, they had them do when they got integration, they got all that stuff. They left you in the seas by yourself. They ran out. Now they want to come back and get your boats and all that kind of stuff. They have nothing to do with you. Everything about them is white. And they walk around shirts, white lives matter, all this bullshit. That had nothing to do with you. Because they love master, because they master's children. They was one in master's house. You might have moved to Dane Jago. That dude, that Keith, or whatever his name was, Kent, or whatever his name was, right? Stephen, or whatever his name was, right? Kevin, or whatever, right? He was more white than a white man. He's black skin. Because he identified with, because he's one of their children through rape. It says half our nation was corrupted for incessant, relentless rape for over 40 years. So their mind says the same thing as their dad. They tell you, they're not people, they skinfolk, they ain't kinfolk. You know, when I was growing up, they used to call them out. Man, why did that happen? It's called Oreos and all stuff like that there, right? And all of a sudden that stopped, disappeared. Because you got people like Farrakhan and all kind of stuff. They ain't devils. What? Then let's say they are devils. You can't redeem them. I'm going to redeem them. Because he's the devil himself. He follows the devil. See? So now they come together. Now they want to be your buddy. Because everybody's on the attack. We're all on the attack together. See? Now they want to come. And we don't want them. And they want us to help fight. See, he wants to help to fight, you know, protect ourselves, and they think they're going to take over America, and America's at war, and they think, oh man, it's time, we can take it now, man. 17 million, you know, it's because it's about 34 million blacks, half from the demons, half from the original, and they figure, man, 34, we all fight together. Because remember, it's going to be the children, mother, father, because remember, anybody, you be eating, especially your children. So your children be fighting, everybody in the face, it's going to be 100%, nobody sitting back and playing on. Anybody sitting back and playing on video games, you ain't got no electricity and gas to this time. Everybody's gonna be out there in the field fighting for your lives. And they're gonna think, well, if we fight with you, and if we work together, we ain't gonna work with you. We already went through that crap with you, the integration, so-called civil rights movement. As soon as you got what you wanted, you took off. You got Malcolm X all confused and everything else. You got what you wanted, you took off. You said, hell with y'all. In fact, even so, we don't have to do with you. But they all come together now, because they're, you know, we're together, brothers. I ain't your damn brother. You's with the devils. You's with them. You's hanging out with them. You's loving them. You's sleeping with them. You's partying with them. You ain't caring about us. How Kanye got billions of dollars? How come he ain't using that money to help black folks? Oprah, she's over in South Africa talking about she's helping black schools over there. Care about you. See, if they want anything any at all, they want to use you to forward, you know, forward their ambitions. You know, because they want to be the first this and the first that. I don't care about you. Everybody uses you like that. Kamala Harris, whatever her damn name is, right? Kamala Harris. Tell me, she's black. She ain't black. She's Indian, and she's what they call it? Got the name, but she's Indian. See? And she's one of those, I forget what they call the name they use them, right? But she's one of those that lords over the black Indians over there. I forget the name they call them, right? But now I'm black. How the hell you black? A group of black kid. She's Indian, from India. Everybody just uses you. That's why his demon plague. Okay, anyway. You have to ask yourself that question, bro. It says they all come together then. And we throw them out. That's what it says in Mark. Right? So, because we just spoke to them, please stop tormenting us. Because Suleiman was revealing them, exposing them. So please stop tormenting us. And they threw him back to swine dead. That's what's about to happen. Because that's what's happened. At the harvest time, right? They separate out and they throw him back. And that's the demon. That starts the demon war. A full-fledged war. A full-fledged war starts the demon war in America. It lasts 5 months. See? That's why it says 3 for 1. The wheat stays up, the barley goes down, 3 of them. 3 to 1. If wheat is valuable, the barley is not. We don't care nothing about it, so we throw it back. That's what it said in the book of Mark. We read the man was possessed by demons. We threw the demons out, kept him, but he had to go through the tribulation, right? But he had possibility of salvation. I'm not going into that kind of detail here. Famine, death. Now, the death part is, like I said, that's the siege part. Because when they invade, that's the goat that comes across without feet touching land. That means it comes across the Pacific Ocean from the west. That can only be China. Look at your map. If someone comes across from the west, feet not touching land, that means come across the west. It's got to be China. It's got to come to America, right? As Americans, they ram their two horns. That's American Britain. Now Britain's weak because Britain was wiped out, so their military is over here. That's another story together. Anyway, that's the story here, brothers and sisters. You're going to be on the menu. You think the so-called Holocaust? It was taking and picking people who were going to go in the gas chamber stuff, then pick people who were going to eat alive. They have you locked up someplace, and they go, oh, I want that one, I want that one. Give me that young one. Give me that baby. Okay? That's what it says right there. Ask Farrakhan what it says. He has no idea what the angel says. He can't even spell angel. He can't even walk. He has no idea because he's a demon himself. And the thing about it is, we're going to be snatched out of here. But demons that's leading you to this bullshit. And what did I do here? I forgot my... Okay, well, Come on, brothers and sisters here. I'm not sure if I'm even live on sound on one of these. Hold on. I just thought about that. Come on, brothers and sisters. Good thing I got it back up here. Light myself off. I didn't notice it. Oh man. Oh. Good day here. Yep. That's what happened. I'm not sure if good thing I got it back up. This is another issue here. Well, I have to live with that one. Okay, well, we're almost finished anyway, brothers and sisters. I said I'm gonna have some technical issues. Oh boy. I got it back up here. Let me see, check the sound out. Anyway, brothers and sisters, that's the story. That's the story, brothers and sisters. Let's tell you like it is. The demons, as I was saying, they lead you in this bullshit, this American dream, everything else. And the irony of it is that they're going to be on the menu. They're going to be definitely, most of them going to be in there. And they're going to be fighting to save their ass. But most of them going to be, every time they catch them, eat them. Our people be delivered and say, well, because we're going to be, that's why it says Michael will rise in the time of Jacob's trouble, that's us, be snatched out. We're not running out, we're taken out at time of unprecedented trouble. Because that's unprecedented. Can you think of anything like that? It's unprecedented, we're taken out. So we want to suffer that. We're not hear the faintest sounds of that and raise the roaring of hell. But some of our people will. And so those, remember the man in Mark, he wasn't allowed to go when Suleiman left. He had to go to tribulation. Read chapter the seventh, chapter 7, right? These had to go through tribulation. They had to clean up. You talk about that in Daniel also. They had to go to tribulation. See, they had to go through tribulation. So how are they going to survive? Because that tribulation is going to last at least 5 months. At least 5 months. How are they going to survive? Because we're some extras, right? Master from Muhammad was giving them a manna from heaven. See, those people that know who their God is, because now they know who their God is, and they're going to stop at the BS. They got to go to tribulation. They got the final cleansing. See, because they was put in the furnace, but they allowed fire kind of deceive them, so they got to be put back in to burn out those impurities, because you got to be 100% pure gold to get into the kingdom. So you got to go to tribulation, burn off those, they're the silver and the gold. See? That's what's happening, brothers and sisters. And it says that they will be given, they have to maintain their faith. They'll be given manna from heaven. That's another reason that be pursued. Those that don't get caught. And those who know their God is during that time will do exploits. They will have food. See? But then you will have a lot of demons going to join on to them, pretending they're original. Because Master's members, Suman won't be here. He already separated them out. Oh, he made a mistake, man. I'm really one of y'all. He said they're going to join with blandishments. Means artful caresses. Yeah, man, I was really with you. Look here. We can get rid of them devils and all that kind of stuff. They're going to, and some of you are going to buy some of that stuff. See, and you're going to be betrayed. Because all the devil got to do is say, hey, man, just let us know what's happening, man. We're going to, because they're hardest with the demon devil. They're hoping that the devils turn around, their master, their fathers turn around and be nice to them. They're hoping that they can stop this war and negotiate. See? They don't want to be wiped out, but they're going to be wiped out. But they're running for their lives. Good for them. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, no, there's one more thing. What happened? Oops. Oh. And this last part here, brothers and sisters, some of the wild beasts of the earth. What is that? Huh? Wild beasts of the earth. See? Then get back to that sixth seal again. See, America is caught between Russia and the EU. There'll be a war with Russia and war with the EU, NATO and all that. Their former, says their love is going to abandon them. There'll be a war with them. They're going to turn on them. See? I'm showing false Israel, but false was already gone. But there'll be war. One reason I'm leaving there, because there'll be a war. The war will start while false Israel is under siege. That's what I want you to see. War will start while false Israel is under siege. Okay? Because this is during the time for the resurrection, for the winds blow. See? So as soon as they kicked out, they kicked out of the Middle East, the war will immediately start. And Armageddon immediately start. Once they kick out of the Middle East, it will start immediately. Once they kick out of the Middle East, war will immediately start. That's what I'm trying to show you here. While false Israel is under siege. Where are we at? Okay. See? I was trying to show. And then the four winds blow, which initiates the resurrection. That's where it says return. That's what we're talking about, the Red Sea. Because these red winds are also called the sea and the angel. So they part, right? They also call the winds. Remember Moses, the winds came and separated the Red Sea. That's what we're talking about. So the children of Israel could go on dry land. Now it's dry land. For a while, Ishmael's like, man, we ain't gonna cross the Red Sea because he's stupid. They ain't talking about over there. They're talking about, you have to understand the angel, understand that. The red right there is sometimes, that's one symbolism. Symbolism change, the puzzle doesn't change. Like you have the same puzzle, but you get a different picture all the time, right? We're saying, once you understand how the puzzle works, you don't care about the picture. The picture shows, guides you on how to put the puzzle together. But once you understand how to put the puzzle together, you don't need the picture. They keep changing the picture all they want. You can still put it together. You can put it blindfolded because now you know how the pieces go. That's the same way this with the angel. The color changes, the symbols changes, but the puzzle or the key does not change. So that's it, brothers and sisters. That's it. That's it. The rest is just going back to the 4 seals again. See, throw it up there, just going back to that again. I was gonna go back and do it the second time, right? But I'm not. I'm gonna stop here because I gotta check my sound on the sound on YouTube because I may have lost my sound there. But I have a backup, right? So I can put it back up there, right? So I said my microphone fell off. Okay, brothers and sisters, that's it. I'm gonna leave it there. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Let's see here. I'm gonna leave it there, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum. Oops. Where am I here? Okay, there you go.